the realtors that were able to keep working throughout this time, like myself, like a few others, tended to have that relationship model. So the clients were calling us saying, hey, what's happening? And we were checking in with them and saying, hey guys, here's what's happening.
Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy Podcast. I'm here today with Andrew Furry from RE/MAX Escarpment. Describe a little bit your career, how long you've been in real estate, and how you got into it.
Sure. Well, I got licensed in 2012. Started with RE/MAX in St. Catharines, and then I lived in Winona, so a suburb of Hamilton at the time. So I joined RE/MAX Escarpment. I've been there ever since. So 8 years in real estate, only ever with RE/MAX. And I got into it from years of watching my mom. Mom was in real estate. She got licensed in 2000. And around the time I was looking to get in, she was thinking about maybe retiring or slowing down. And I looked and said, geez, you got this nice book of business here. That's probably too bad to just let it go away. So my wife and I had some tough conversations about what it would be like for that to be a full-time gig working for commission. And here I am. So
it was a very good, smooth transition to get from.
It was. Yeah, I certainly had a bit of a leg that not everybody starting out in real estate would have, trained by a good realtor with an already existing book of business, but it's still pretty lean. Yeah. Anybody that tells you otherwise is full of crap or shit lucky. Sorry, you may have to edit that. Darn it.
I like it. And so tell us, like, when you talked to your wife, what was your job before? What were you doing? Was it stressful? Did you have to let go of security, salary?
Well, actually, I had always worked for myself. Okay. I had a business that was doing mobile touch-ups and body shop repairs called Carsmetics. And so it actually wasn't that much of a difficult transition for that. Mm-hmm. What it was more than anything was, how are we going to save up enough to live off of while we're not making any money in real estate?
Yeah.
So that's what we did, is we just lived as lean as we could, saved for over a full year so that we had at least a 9-month window of living expenses that we still burnt through in 6 months. So always budget over, because you'll end up using it. And so I got licensed in April, got my first full paycheck in October of that year. And so we're pretty lean for a little while, but it was certainly worthwhile in the long run.
That's very cool. Very through grinder, do it, because you had the mentality before. You were always on your own. That's pretty.
I was, and my wife is a very conservative upbringing, but she's also a banker, so she's very good at budgeting.
Smart.
And was kind of nervous about having enough, but she also knew if we laid it out here and this is what was done, that it would all work out.
Very cool. What would you say would be one thing that you did that generated a lot of success for you as a realtor when you saw that peak?
You know what? I think probably, Maude, it's just being focused on the relationships. And I know that sort of probably sounds trite or a little bit stereotypical or trendy or what have you. But I was chatting with a lot of realtors, even during this most recent COVID pandemic. And the realtors that were able to keep working throughout this time, like myself, like a few others, tended to have that relationship model. So the clients were calling us saying, hey, what's happening? And we were checking in with them and saying, hey guys, here's what's happening. And it didn't sound weird to hear from Andrew. Whereas some of the realtors or the teams or the brokerages that funnel, just focus on like a lead generation channel, that they count on the social media to keep getting their stuff up. Those guys were really struggling because the tap turned off for a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So I would say probably just the relationship is real key. Yeah. When somebody calls, they know they get me for whatever value that might be worth, because some days that's a little questionable. That, oh man, I'm going to get Andrew. Is he going to make a joke that's a little off color or what? But but I think that's probably been the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's true though. The relationship, I find too, the realtors who had the biggest strength on their relationship have been successful right now. So that's a really good one. So. And then what would be your typical day right now? What do you do? How do you deal with everything?
Well, a typical day in the life of real estate is by definition atypical, because I could have nothing planned and then suddenly be gone for 6 or 8 hours.
Yes.
But generally my morning starts with going through, taking a look at the hot sheet, as we call it. So seeing anything that new listing that pops up that maybe didn't get caught by one of my filters for the buyers. So I
Mhm.
send it along for them. Looking at what may have sold in areas that I'm watching, anything that, came off the market with a condition or something like that. And then touching base with a couple of active buyers, active sellers, following up on some paperwork, getting in touch with my assistant for things that need to be prepared for the day, and then seeing where the day holds, seeing where it's going to take me. So like today I was down doing a listing in Stevensville. You guys are going to come out and take some pictures for me soon for.
Nice.
Then I've got one that I'm listing later tonight, again, that you're coming out to do some pictures for. And so that's today. But then buyer side of it, I got showings, I've got to stagger them in, walkthroughs, structuring inspections, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's not really a typical day, but usually between noon and 8 is the time that I'll find myself working most often, which is great because I'm a night owl. You'll never get me to sleep before midnight.
So then you get to do all that work.
Yeah, so I wanted a job where I didn't have to get up at 8 in the morning and do work, because I don't like that, and nobody buys a house before 8 in the morning.
What would be like 3 things that you do, no matter what, in your business that always is part of your routine to generate business?
To generate business, I am one of the things that I do with people that buy or sell with me is I send them updates on what happened in their neighborhood after they're gone or after they've moved in, so that they are sort of constantly connected. There's nothing worse than having them call and say, "Hey, what did my neighbor's house sell for?" and you didn't know.
Sure.
So it's a little bit of a big job, because I unlike some realtors, I don't focus on just a very specific neighborhood. I'll work anywhere from between like Waterdown all the way down to Niagara Falls, Fort Erie. I don't sell a ton on the extremities, but I still do all over the place. So there's a lot of neighborhoods that I'm watching, but I find people really appreciate that. And then just a small touch point. I send out a monthly newsletter, but I also do a birthday email.
Nice.
And when they reply to me and I reply back to them, they know it's a live one. It's not an automatic generated sort of blanket happy birthday or whatever. And I usually have a very creative way of wishing them a happy birthday, so that they know it's me. How many times do you see on your Facebook wall, happy birthday or HBD or whatever? If you get a birthday greeting from me, it's always, like happy natal anniversary, or, congratulations on another year of escaping from the womb, or something like that, that they know, oh, this is Andrew. This is it. That's it. That's not a computer generated thing. That's this guy. So that one there. And then probably the last piece is, I try to work as much from referral. And I know there's a lot of realtors that do or don't like that business model, but one of the things that I don't know how to put this. I have a quirky sense of humor, and I like to work with people that are okay with that, because it's more genuine, right?
You attract people you want to work with.
That's exactly it. I attract, like attracts like, right? So if I've had a good experience with that client in the past, chances are somebody they send me will be somebody that we align well with. Yeah. And so that's been a really good fit. And also, I guess maybe 4. So see, I'm not listening to your rules here, Mode, and I'm giving you an extra one. But my wife and I have been very active as real estate investors. And we know that that's a great way to generate income for us and our 4 children in the future. And so I do tend to attract a lot of investors too, which is a nice part of the business, because they buy any time of the year. Whereas a lot of times most realtors' glut of business is between like March and September. So
COVID, no COVID, investors are.
COVID, no COVID. People are buying houses to invest in.
Yeah, true. They say like what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So what did not kill you and you learned from?
Oh man, what hasn't killed me? Lots of different things haven't killed me, Mode. But you know what? Honestly, the craziness of 2017.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It didn't kill me at all. I had a very good year. I focused on the listing side, which was great, because the buy side that year burnt a lot of people out. Yes. We're putting in 20 and 30 offers for people and getting beat out every single time. So, kind of reading what's coming and anticipating it has really helped me to weather those storms. Because even right now, I had a fair number of listings lined up to go live in the spring.
Mhm.
Well, some of them had to go regardless, but a couple of them listened to me and said, hey, why don't we push this off until this breaks a little bit? And they said,
Mhm.
well, but I've got to go. I said, no, I don't understand that, but we're going to have a great year coming up. And they said, well, how could we possibly have that? And I said, because you can't expect me to believe that you're going to keep people in their house for 3 months and they're not going to go, holy crap, I've got nowhere to hide from my family. Oh man, this place is so big, I don't need all this stuff. Oh
I
man,
need
I
a
got way too
pool.
many neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't have enough neighbors if I need something.
Yeah.
I don't have a pool. Where do my kids go? And so the people that had pools, I said to them, guys, this is going to be huge. So
Smart.
they're holding off, and now they're listing, and I could sell a large yard with a pool every day of the week right now.
Mhm.
Whereas this time last year, it was like pulling teeth to do the
Yeah.
same thing. So up until COVID hit, the trend was kind of towards smaller yards, less maintenance. Well, it's completely the opposite now. They want
Now people
more
want.
space because probably the kids are going back in September. Good God, I hope so. But if they don't, where are they going to go, right? If you keep the playgrounds closed and that. So kind of reading the market and really paying attention to some subtle nuances kind of helps me stay ahead a little bit and
It's
anticipate.
very smart. It's the right way to do it. Always keep ahead. And
So,
yeah, that's how you said 2017 was really hurtful for a lot of buyer agents. And
mhm.
2018 was really painful for a lot of those agents who were so successful in 2017. They thought they were going to make that
Yep,
money forever.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That benchmark moved on their spending and their income didn't match it anymore.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't, as a business model, I don't focus on volume.
Nice.
I try to focus on consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that still doesn't work. You can't tell people when they're going to buy and sell.
No.
But I do. I try to have at least something closing every month.
Okay.
And if something doesn't, that at least I've got two that month to balance it out. And for the most part, in 8 years, it's worked pretty well that way. There's still, leaner Januaries
Yeah.
and leaner Decembers and Novembers, but for the most part, it's pretty good that way
Consistent.
because I focus on, getting that 24 to 30 number every year
Mm-hmm.
rather than having some years spike up to, 40 and 50 and then others having 10.
Yeah.
So,
That would be
part of that is playing to my spouse because, being conservative, being budget minded,
mm-hmm.
she'd rather have more level numbers than big
Yeah.
spikes and big drops. So
Very
I've tried to
smart.
tailor that business too.
You guys are a good team.
We are a good team. Yes. She's
That's
actually been thinking about real estate, getting into it too. So we already work in the
You're
marriage. Why
already
not?
doing it, yeah. So your business comes from your mom, not your business, but the
Nope.
spike of it. So what's
Yep.
the best advice your mom gave you when you became a realtor?
Oh man. My mom was an interesting woman to follow because she did her job so well that a lot of her clients didn't move again.
Mm,
So,
they
so,
loved it.
so that's what I would say her best advice to me probably was focus on the right house for the right client.
Mm,
She said, if you focus on the people, the money looks after itself. And it does. It does. If I tried to, force somebody into a house or try to sell them on it, it
they'll
wouldn't work.
resent you later.
They'll resent me later. There'll be, no good relationships. If I go through my client database right now, it's about 150 to 200 people. It's not a huge database, but it is an active one that if I
Mhm.
called any one of those clients, they would be able to say, yes, oh, I've heard from Andrew recently. I may not remember when, but it wasn't like 5 years ago. They just dropped off the radar and I haven't heard from them again.
Yeah.
And so it kind of works nicely that way to keep working it.
Yeah, and you don't want people from your database to be like, "Oh, you're still a realtor?" Like,
No, exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
You're still doing that, eh?
I haven't heard from you. You still a realtor?
That's exactly. Well, I'm 35, and so the business can grow with me
Yeah,
if I look after it still.
true.
So
And your integrity, your word's gonna be there to support
yep,
for the 20
exactly
years
it.
from now when they want to downsize.
Well, they say good realtors don't retire; they just go out of commission. But I don't know if I ever plan on going into my 70s in that. But I've
Yeah.
certainly got a good 25 years ahead of me. So.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. You can still do it as a passion. Like,
Oh, absolutely. I'll probably still keep my license just for my own stuff. And then my wife and I are actually moving right now.
Okay.
So we bought ourselves a place above the hill here in Pelham, and it's 55-acre farm that we're going to.
Wow.
And the listing agent has been selling real estate for 47 years.
See?
And he said, I don't need it anymore. I just still like the occasional really nice client, really good deal, and off we go. And I think that'll probably be me in the future. But for the next 25, I've got a lot of kids to pay for. So
Yeah. You deal with less BS too when you only deal with the people you like.
you absolutely do. Yes.
What advice would you give to a realtor who's like thinking of quitting right now that can't do it?
Oh, who's thinking of quitting?
Yeah.
Well, I guess without knowing the reason they're thinking of quitting, just keep at it.
Yeah.
Don't pack it in. Find a way that's unique to you to position yourself in the market. I mean, everybody could send a letter to a mailbox saying, thinking about moving, call whomever. That's just white noise in this type of industry now.
Yeah.
And certainly in the climate that we're in, people are just not paying attention to that. So, something that's unique to them, and maybe you just really focus on doing one or two things extremely well.
Smart. Yeah.
So, like for me, because I live in Vineland and Pelham area, if you call me up at any given day, I can tell you everything about that market. So what's listed, what's new, what's coming up, and not that I don't have that same level of knowledge on other places, because I'm just right now, I just sold a place for a couple up in Huntsville, and you couldn't do that. I can go and research an area really well, really quickly, but I'm not going to follow Huntsville actively after they move up there. And so you could spread yourself too thin by trying to be too much to too many.
Yeah.
And so if you dial it back and you really focus on where you want to work and with whom, and try and find a way to break into them, you will be able to do it. You will be able to do it. Never pack it in or just throw in the towel because of a bit of a challenge in a year. So.
Yeah. True. What are you looking forward to in the future? What's coming out this year other than moving and all uncertain things we're going through right now?
Yeah. Actually, I'm really looking forward to the year. I know that generally speaking, as an industry, we're a pretty optimistic, positive group. Nobody wants to buy houses from somebody who thinks the sky's falling.
Yeah.
But
not the time.
No, exactly. Don't buy now. But I would say I'm actually really excited for this year, because I have always been a proponent of having a nice size yard. If you can, if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
If you're not, doesn't matter. But I like that, and that type of style of house is going to come back into favor now. And I think the COVID crisis is going to have a nice positive benefit for a community feel. Yeah. I know it has for us. We've always been very friendly with our neighbors, and we live in Vineland, which has an incredible community already. So I might be a little biased that way, but I'm excited for the opportunities that people are going to find now when they're moving. They're going to be looking for more established neighborhoods that have that community feeling. Yeah. And it's really going to be a great thing for our industry this year.
Yeah.
So
it's a very positive way to look at it, which is all I want in life. Align with people who are positive and fun.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Cool.
That's why I like working with you, Mode.
Thank you. That's awesome. So tell us, where do we find you? What's your website, your branding, your info?
Yeah, well, you can find me on Remax's website, but my own website is ourfamilyhelpingyours.ca. Okay. My mom and I worked together, and it was I figured at some point my wife would probably want to follow me in. Yeah. And although you always hope for better for your children, with 4 of them, the likelihood is one of them's going to follow me in too. So I don't have to change the URL now. I can just keep that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And then tell us about the story with the hat. You always have your hat on your picture.
I do. I was actually thinking about wearing it today, and then I realized, well, I'm in a house. I would never wear it in the house. So
go outside.
But my mom and dad have pictures of me at 3 years old wearing a sailor cap. So I've always had a hat. And there's actually been some clients partway through our deal who, for the first time when we sit down to sign paperwork, have seen me without it. And they go, you've got hair up there.
You got a head.
I do. They just never see it. It's always from here up.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, I've just really enjoyed always wearing a hat. And I find that it actually had a benefit in real estate of sort of differentiating me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may not remember the name. They'll just say, oh, you're the guy with the hat.
Yeah.
But it still works because my neighbor down the street doesn't recognize me without it.
Hey, I'm all about branding and being recognized. So that's
it. And it was certainly by no means intentional, but yeah, it has. And I've even thought over the years about using it as sort of like a branding, sort of to a throwback to a more like relationship focused time. Because back in the 50s and 60s, when my hat style was popular, realtors didn't have MLS and that. They had to focus on what was on the market and matching it to a client. So it was very personalized service. And that's what I offer. So I'm thinking about branding it to the hat someday, but so far I haven't had to. So
every time you're in the house too, always go by the fan the way you are. It looks like you still have a hat on.
Yeah, there we go.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing your story. That was really, really good.
My pleasure.
Thank you
my
for
pleasure.
sharing
Thanks for
all
talking
your
to me.
knowledge. It was good to hear from you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks so much, Mo. You know us realtors. We could talk all day to anybody. So it's just nice to be able to chat.